And, oh, I think we're coming online, y'all. All right. I think we're here. Flower friends, I have learned to love Strawflowers almost as much as I love zinnias because they are so useful. Hey, flower friends, we are live. Welcome to the Live Gardening Show. It is your friend in flowers, Lisa Mason Ziegler, and I am so glad to be here with you guys, and I can't wait to talk to y'all about Strawflowers. These guys, look how big they are. This is 60 of Strawflowers growing in the 3/4 inch block. All their brothers and sisters were planted today and last week, and these were some of our leftovers, and I just can't wait to talk to you guys about Strawflowers and what I have learned. And so, hey everybody. All right, so y'all, if you're not familiar with the Live Gardening Show and me, and we've never met before, my name is Lisa and I'm the owner of the Gardener's Workshop. And I've been a cut flower farmer for the past 25 years, and I'm on a mission now to help other people, whether it's for pleasure or for profit, to grow great cut flowers. And I do that by showing and demonstrating what we do here on my farm and offering the same tools, seeds, and supplies, plus, of course, my resources, books, and all kinds of things that we have created for you guys right here. And so let's look at what are we talking about today. So today is about kind of all things Strawflowers. I just think they're one of the greatest kept secrets in cut flowers. We're going to talk about how you can succession plant them. I have a new variety, as well as I want you guys to see our seed sets. We've got them back in stock. Y'all blew us away selling them out the last 2 weekends. And then I will be doing a little Q&A at the end. So if you have a question that comes up during the live, please just post it in the comments, put @Lisa at the head so I'll know when to stop, and grab it when we're going through those, and I will be happy to try to actually, wait a minute, y'all, you know me, I have to get my P's in a row over here or I will screw it up. All right, so first off, I just want to say thank you out of the gate for y'all sharing about our live show with your friends. You know that you can actually share this little button right here with the arrow. You can invite your friends to come over, and we appreciate it so very, very much because I know that y'all do it. Because we have new people every single week and new people downloading our phone app. Now, I do want to be sure that everybody is aware that I am doing a free live class on Friday and Monday, and it's on where to sell your cut flowers. It's free, but you must register to get the link, right? And you can do that over on my website, thegardenersworkshop.com. It's at the top of every page in the yellow banner. There's 2 dates to choose from, and I would love to see you there because I'm going to blow the myths out of the water, y'all. And just put your jitters to bed over worrying about selling your flowers. Selling your flowers is not what most of us conjure up in our head. And so I hope to see you there. Now, we always have to do our housekeeping for the new folks. When you're checking out, please double check that your email address and your phone numbers are correct here inside the app, or we cannot create tracking tickets for you and it will delay your order. Now, if you happened upon us in social media, I'm so glad you found us. But I want you to know that we have a phone app. It's free, y'all. You can go to your phone's app store, search Gardener's Workshop, and download the Shop app. That's what I'm inside of right now. Why would you want to do that? Several reasons. One, there's special shipping rates available only inside the app. Seed order only. If you only order seed packets, the shipping is on us. Only inside the app. We have a cap on products when you purchase products. It's $11.95, no matter how many products you actually purchase. And of course, you can participate with the other live viewers. That's what's going on down here. And when you do our show on Friday, the big noon show on Fridays, we have a giveaway. You have to be inside the app to qualify or for us to even be able to see you. And I give away $25 the store credit every single week, y'all. So get the app. It's free and you will just have so much more of an experience. Now, frequently, just like the 2 seed sets I'm going to just show you up first, are both things that sold out and went out of stock. If you go to an item and it says, sorry, out of stock, get notified. That simply means that you'll get a notification on your phone when the product is back in stock, if it's going to come back in stock. And so I would recommend that you do that. And then, friends, I absolutely love it and I see some right now, when I see the sunflower emojis. Thank y'all so much. Do y'all know what those mean? Look at all those sunflowers, y'all. Sunflower emojis those are our TGW family. And our family are our online course students and my private flower farming membership members. And I just love it when I see all of those sunflowers. All right, friends, let's get into it. So first I want to show you back in stock, the red, white, and bloom seed set. Oh, y'all look at that. Look how pretty that is. So this includes individual seed packs of the Scarlet Red Benary's Giant Zinnia, the Giant Afternoon White Cosmo, the biggest, showiest white Cosmo, the Blue Azuratum that I'm just such a huge fan of, and then the Lemon Basil that puts people over the edge, right, when they lift up your beautiful flowers to smell them. And then, of course, the icing on the cake is the Explosion Grass, which literally looks like fireworks. This is a garden in honor of our 250th anniversary of the United States. And it comes to you just like this, with a little ribbon on it. They're individual seed packets. It's got that pretty little picture that I just showed you, the big one. It's $19.95, and get them while they're available, y'all. This is just, I mean, think about this, for an Easter basket or a Mother's Day, right? This would just be so super sweet. We love this red, white, and bloom, y'all. And I didn't even bring it up. Wait a minute. It'd be helpful if I brought the product up, wouldn't it? I'm already being bad tonight, y'all. All right, so I just brought it up. So you can hit the box to get yours. It's the red, white, and bloom seed set. And they are limited quantities, so get them while they're available. Now, I do want to also say, down at the bottom of your screen when you're in the app, there's a shop button here. That brings up everything that I show during the live show. So you can just go back and revisit that if you need to. Now, the first seed set that we introduced 3 weeks ago that sold out immediately was the Secret Romance, y'all. Look how sweet this bouquet is. And this includes the Queen Lime Blotch Zinnia. It's lime green with pink traces on it. The Double Click White Cosmo, which lasts a little longer than many of them. Love that one. And then the Cinnamon Basil, the red stem and bloom is perfect accent. Sorry, y'all, I have to keep licking my fingers to get these apart. Love the Cinnamon Basil. And look at this. Flamingo Feather Celosia. Y'all, look at the greeny tips. Love that. And of course, all these seeds are available individually if you want them, but there's a little bit of a discount when you buy the set actually together. And then this is Love in a Puff, which is actually a vine. It hydrates beautifully as a cut. These are the big seed pods. Love that. And that's what you see dangling here. So the Secret Romance is so pretty. And it comes also with a little ribbon with a picture of the bouquet in 5 individual seed packets. And they're $19.95. Can't even speak. And you know, guys, these are a Regency-inspired flower garden destined to set the ton of buzz. And if you know what I'm talking about, if you know, you know, right? Love that one. All right, so where am I here? Now let's get down to the business of Strawflowers. And I want to say again, those sets are limited while supplies last, right? So I want to run through the Strawflowers, and I'm going to give you my take on each one. I love each one, but I love some more than others because of their usefulness. So we're starting out with, out of the gate, I got to get rid of this mouse pad. It's kind of not working. Me and technology, y'all. Okay, so we've got the purple and the red. So look at this one. This is a really cool color. However, look how dark it is, y'all. This is one that you want to have maybe one stick to add to a bouquet. You're not putting multiples of this. It's just too dark. It's really a cool color. So if I was growing 20 feet of all the great Strawflower colors that I love to use, I would grow like 5 feet of this. So that's kind of where that is. And then the white, nobody has ever had enough white, clean flowers that stay white. And that is this. This one's called Vintage White, and it's just useful at any time that you have it available. So love that one. It's also a real favorite of the native bees. They love the light colors. Then this one, which is called Silvery Rose, it's like a white bloom with a blush of pink painted on it. Such a great color. It is so useful in bouquets or in straight bunches. It's beautiful dried. And then this is my favorite bouquet ingredient. This is what they call bright pink. And it just is popping, y'all. That's what we're always looking for in bouquets, is popping color. That's what attracts people and just is the most showy. Love that. And I'm going to show you some real life examples, but this is the perfect harvest stage. See how the petals are still closed? This is too late, and this is on the verge. And I'm going to show you some real life cases here. And look at this. This is the orange, which, you know, orange is my favorite color. These are all too late. Look how dirty the center is getting. But this is a great color, great for late season and the end of the season. And I absolutely love the yellow because it's useful all the time. I mean, it's just bright popping color. And again, here's the perfect stage to harvest. And if you harvest them open like this, they just bust open and the center gets really ugly really fast. And then this is another interesting color that I love to have some of, but not a ton. It's copper red. And again, it's like the purple red. It's just dark. So it's really cool to have one to stick in, but you don't want to overload a bouquet with. It's just a really pretty color. And this was always a popular color. The peach mix. Look at those colors, y'all. That is so pretty. And then we have a new mix. It's called Choice. And look at that. This does not have white, but look at all the colors. Now, this is the one I would actually grow if I hadn't met any of the colors, right? And I wanted to kind of get to know Strawflowers. This is the one. Now, Strawflowers are a cool flower, right? And they are a super long-lasting fresh flower. They dry beautifully. They're native to Australia, and they're just like Lisianthus. They like a cool start, meaning cool soil to cold, and they'll do well with a hot to warm finish, meaning they perform well even during summer. And so they're not really petals. Listen, they're like little papery brackets. And they're born this way, right? These are probably this is probably 2 years old. And look how great it still holds its color. Strawflowers are a great pollinator attractor, and they are deer resistant, y'all. That is just a really great one. So what I wanted to show you, let me see where I am here. I'm going to show you how I start them in just a minute, but I want to show you in real life about harvesting. See how the petals are still over top of the center here? This is proper. This is not what you want. This is what happens when you let them open too much in the garden. They just go slam wide open. Not very pretty, particularly as a dry flower. these are both the same age. They're both like 2 years old, dried, but it's the stage to harvest. Always, it's the stage you harvest your stuff in that deems the quality. And here it is in white. Perfect. Ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly. So stage to harvest is a key piece of all of this. So another thing about Strawflowers is the seeds do not store well. They don't stay viable from year to year like many seeds do. So we start with fresh seed every single season when we're going to start them. And they're surface sown, so they're firmly seated right on the surface of the soil block. And we really use the wide weave burlap, which I'll show you in just a moment. But this is a tray of 60 Strawflowers that are full size. This is the size. They're actually a smidgen bigger than when we plant them out in the garden. These are the leftovers from last week when we planted and the earlier today. And this is what they look like. Look how happy they are. These are growing in 3/4 inch block, y'all. They are just so happy. And I want to show you how I start them. All right, so let's see what we got here. 11.5 by about 5.5 tray. This is the soil blocker. We import these from England, from Ladbroke, and the blocking mix has been wet. It's very moist, and so that's so it will come out of the tool really well. So we push it down into the moist mix twice, and that just makes sure that the chambers are full. You strike off the extra, and then we put them on the tray that has no drainage holes, which means you can do it anywhere inside your home, and you just squeeze the plunger, and y'all, just that fast, we just made 20 little containers. And so I'm gonna show you how I sow the seeds. I know sometimes it's hard to figure out what does surface sown look like, right? So let's sow some darn seeds. So I have some seeds, and I have them in this little aluminum seed pan so that there's no static electricity. I'm moistening this toothpick, and let's covered by soil. That allows it to gain moisture, to benefit from the warmth of the soil. And you just place it and firmly seat it. And why is it so quick and easy? No static electricity, y'all, in this tray. So that's how we actually sow the seeds. Now, let me show you the different ways that you can get started soil blocking. And first off, you can buy everything that I am showing you and talking about. You can buy everything separately. The seeds that are in those sets that, you know, I started off with, you can buy them all separately. But there's typically discounts when you buy kits. And when you go to the product, it'll show you that. So this, you can buy the individual soil blocker. This is $39.95. And you can buy that. Or, and here I am, y'all, falling behind on my clicking. Hang on. So I just brought up the small blocker, and that makes 20 of the 3/4 inch blocks, right? Then you can buy the soil block maker kit. And I think it's like 18 or 19% discount on buying the kit. And what's in the kit? The kit includes the small blocker. It also includes your choice of either 3 cool season seeds or 3 warm season seeds. You select when you're actually checking out. And it also includes my Seed Starting Made Easy online course. This takes you through everything. Making the blocks, sowing the seeds, growing them up, hardening them off, getting them out in the garden. It even has a session on direct sowing seeds straight out in the garden. It also includes 5 of these reusable foam trays that each one holds 3 sets of 20. There's your seed pan like I was using and toothpicks. And then the wooden markers, which I love to use as little tools to mess around with my soil blocks. And it includes a bag of the blocking mix that you just add water to. This will make up to 600 of those little blocks, y'all. Goes a really long way. So you get all of this. How much is it? $89.99, y'all. And if I'm memory serving me right, I believe regular price is $110 when you buy all this stuff separately. This is a great way to get started soil blocking. Okay, so let's look at some other things here. Let me see what order I'm supposed to go in. Y'all, I'm trying so hard. Susie produces our shows, and she does such a great job. Oh, so you can purchase the ready-made mix individually. So you can buy just a bag of the block and mix, and there are big bags of this available over on our website. They aren't available here inside the app. This is the same soil we've always sold. It's just a different packaging right now, and it's $15.95. Now, Now, I'm frequently asked about, do I use a seedling heat mat? I do. And I use it on cool and warm season seeds. The heat mat has a built-in thermostat that triggers from the air temperature. Most seeds germinate between 75 and 85 degree soil temperature. And so if your home is 70 degrees, that means your soil, a mass of soil, is 15 to 20 degrees cooler than your air temperature. So that means if your house is 70, that means that little block is going to be 50 to 55 degrees, which explains why people have struggles starting seeds if they don't use a seedling heat mat. Heat mat warms up 15 to 20 degrees warmer than the air temperature. There you go. So this is just one jumping spot in the method of starting. When I'm starting warm season seeds, they sit directly on the heat mat. But when I'm starting cool season seeds, like Strawflowers, I use a cookie cooling rack just sitting on top of this to create a little bit of airspace that simply just cools it down a smidgen, but it still produces consistent 24/7 warmth. The heat mat is $39.95, and I will tell you, friends, this is like what the missing ingredient that a lot of people that are doing a lot of good stuff, but they just can't get their seeds to sprout. The seedling heat mat is what actually makes that difference, right? So I want to tell you about, I told you that these seeds are surface sown, and this is the wide weave burlap I was telling you about. Literally, sow the seeds on the blocks. You just lay this right on top of the tray. It traps moisture, however, it allows air circulation, so you aren't so quick to induce fungus and disease like dampening off. It comes in a 3-foot square piece, and you can get one for $3.95, and actually you can get a 3-pack, I think, for $9.95. And it just helps the seeds retain moisture and germinate faster. And once I see seeds starting to sprout underneath, I take the burlap off because you don't want the seedling to pop through the holes, because then you'll rip them out next time you pull it back. We have had tremendous success with the wide weave burlap. You know, I'm just trying to do all my jobs here. So let's talk about planting the seedlings out in the garden, right? So I like to pinch. I actually follow the 50% pinching rule. And what that means, as a general practice, we'll pinch half of the tray that's going out. With Strawflowers, that isn't quite so easy because they don't really have a central stem. So in fact, I usually do it out in the garden. We plant them, and then after they've grown to about 12 to 18 inches, which means they're really well established, we will cut the central stem down to about a 2-inch stump on half of the crop. I usually do one side of the bed so you can really do a comparison. And what happens is when you pinch, that delays the branching. It delays the blooming, but it encourages branching sooner. Those that you don't pinch are going to bloom first. So you get the best of both worlds. And that works really well. So the spacing that I use for Strawflowers is my beds are 30 inches wide, and I put 4 rows across the bed, and in the rows they are 6 inches apart. Now, you know, because we're demanding so much from our beds, meaning that we're cutting flowers or harvesting vegetables, whatever, that just means that your soil is really having to nurture your plants. You definitely need to use fertilizer, y'all. And this is one of the fertilizers that I use. It's called Sustain. And this is made from turkey litter, feather meal, bone meal, and sulfate of potash. And this bag will treat or is enough for 250 square feet. And there is a larger bag available over on our website. I love changing up fertilizers from time to time. It's like everything has great stuff in it, but it has different stuff in it, and that's what I want to benefit from. So we also have a chicken litter-based fertilizer. They're both great. I just like going back and forth between the two of them. And so this is all natural. It's feeding your soil that is then getting better with each passing application. And because your soil is what's delivering everything to your roots. It's slow release. It's $21.95, and there is a 20-pounder available over on our website. And it has directions. So you can apply that. We apply it when we're preparing the beds. You can side dress with it later, but we don't do that because we use, which I'm getting ready to show you next, I think. Oh, I want to show you this biochar first. So it has all the instructions on the bag, but you can use it in addition to preparing your bed. And so again, you will find larger bags over on our website. Now, this is, if you want to supercharge your soil, this is like probiotics is to your guts. This is what inoculated biochar is to your soil. It just makes your soil work so much better, y'all. It's an organic amendment, and it comes in a 64 ounce. This is the 64 ounce, and it comes in one twice this size. This is awesome to add to your garden, particularly when you're planting perennials and trees and shrubs, permanent plantings. It just does a great list. The 128s are actually on a wait list already. So we have the 64 ounces available. And this is one where it'd be, especially if you have struggling soil, to use it and to do a comparison with it and without. And I think you'll find that you absolutely love it. So you may know that I am a huge fan of the biodegradable film. This looks like plastic, but it's actually made from a plant-based product. And it's biodegradable. It means it's totally compostable in your garden. And it comes with a dark side and a light side. We put the dark side up when we make beds in the fall and in winter and very early spring to help warm the soil. But once it starts to heat up over 80 degrees, we make it with the light side up, and that cools the surface so you don't toast your seedlings. Love this stuff, y'all. It's really easy to poke a hole in, literally. And so we have videos on the product showing you. I laid it by hand for years before I got a tractor that actually lays it now. And it comes in a 48-inch wide piece, which is enough for up to a 36-inch wide bed. And you lay it on the top and down the sides, and then you have a little bit that goes flat on the pathway. And you're going to create like a picture frame around that flat area to seal the edge so air doesn't get under it. There's definitely a learning curve to learn how to install this, but it is worth all the sweat and tears, y'all, because it suppresses so many weed seeds from germinating. I mean, I don't even think I wouldn't be farming today if it was. I've been using this for 14 years. Absolutely love it. So it's 48 inches wide. It's available in a 20-foot and a 50-foot piece, and also in multi-packs. And if you need longer, we even have 100-foot pieces over on our website. So this is the biodegradable film, and you will love it. But I'm telling you, it takes a little learning curve. All right, let's see where we are here. Oh, you definitely have to net Strawflowers. So let's get that up. I think I've only forgotten to click once tonight, y'all. So several things. When you plant Strawflowers in the very early spring, I mean, they're this tall, they're chest high out to us. And because the blooms, each stem has multiple blooms on it, they're very susceptible to just lay down, particularly in torrential rain. So the flower support netting is definitely a must-do for them. You suspend this above the bed. We're using garden stakes, and they grow up through it. I put it at about the 24-inch height, and you need to watch the videos of how to install it. It should not be loose, y'all. It should be really taut. That makes it safe, and it makes it very effective in keeping your flowers upright. And so this comes in a 36-inch wide, multiple lengths. There's 20 and 50 footers. 20 footer is $11.95. It is plastic. It's easy to cut. We use it year from year to year. And it's also a great planting guide. We lay it down on the bed because each hole is 6 inches. It allows you to bloom in space perfectly and so very, very quick. So we love the netting. And when you use it as a planting guide, you don't leave it down. You plant, you get it up out of the garden, and then you install it before as netting before the plants reach 20 inches so they can then grow up through it. So that is the plant support netting. So how do you know when to plant, right? And that's where my big calendar journal, we still have some available, y'all. This is an any year calendar, but it's really more about the journal and learning your planting windows. And let me click it. Didn't click. So it's jumbo, y'all. And this is a wall calendar. It's 20 inches by 30 inches. This is the second page, which has all my instructions, 9 planting windows that you plug in your frost dates to find what your planting windows are. And then once you find them, you follow the seed starting schedule. And it also, this is a QR code right here, and that leads you to my seed starting worksheet that you'll sit down after you know your planting windows, y'all. And I'm telling you, the secret to doing it, and it comes with a free video workshop that's included. It's on the same page that this worksheet is on, is that once you have your planting windows, you go in and work on one planting window from your worksheet. Then you do that one. Then you go to the next planting window. You don't jump around. That's what makes people crazy, and I get it. It is so simple and easy. It'll pull the curtain back and really reveal how easy succession planting will be. And Strawflowers are right along with that, right? So, when do you succession plant, right? So I had the journal clicked. So succession planting of Strawflowers, or of any flower, just means multiple planting. So you have an extended harvest and a consistent supply of the flowers, right? So Strawflowers are a cool flower, cool season hardy annual. So we plant them, for my garden in very early spring. I do not fall plant them. And then in addition to very early spring, it's one of those cool flowers that we plant again and again. So I plant them out depending on what your demand for flowers are. You know, if you're a home gardener, I'd plant them maybe one more time. If you're going to a farmer's market every week, or you have floral customers, or you're selling to supermarkets, we started and planted them every 4 to 6 weeks for 3 to 4 times. They will do well in the heat of summer. They might not get this tall, but they get tall enough because they are so useful as a fresh flower, and they also dry really well. Now, for you to get the lowdown, and so the journal, the calendar journal really leads you to find out when you're supposed to plant, and then when do you start the seeds. It's going to line that all up and keep you on schedule throughout the year, and everything else that you write on that calendar. There's all kinds of suggestions that come on the calendar of things you can put in there. Now, to know everything else, what variety, how to start the seed, when to make the cut, what you can do with it, how to care for your cut flower garden, that is the book, the Cut Flower Handbook. This book answers every question you have on growing cut flowers. From setting up, starting your garden, to what to grow. The back 2/3 of this, there's 66 featured flowers. Look how beautiful this is, y'all. Look at these back here. They're so beautiful. And there's 3 pages about straw flowers in here that'll just really lead and guide you. Would love to sign a book for you, and when you buy it from us, it has the PDF download for you to print of 6 additional flowers. 5 are cool and 1 is warm. The book is $30. I would love to sign one for you. And the combination of this book and that calendar, you will be burning the town up with consistent quality cut flowers all season long, y'all. I mean, that's no joke about that. All right, so what do I do when we cut them? So first off, straw flowers definitely need the pre-treatment. That's the CVBN tablets. This is a chlorine tablet that kills bacteria that's in the buckets, and then when the stems dump debris into the water that you can't really see, the bacteria takes off. This delays and prevents that from happening. 1 tablet in every harvest bucket is what we do here. This is not flower food, y'all. This is a pre-treatment to kill bacteria. And it doesn't replace flower food. This is just what they get for the first at least 4 hours, but they can sit in this for up to 72 hours, as you're needing to process or move them out or whatever you're doing. And it also comes in an 800 tab or an 80 tab. Whatever your pleasure is for the volume of flowers. So let's talk about harvesting. So that first cut, for those ones that you didn't pinch, there'll be a central stem. Do the same thing like we did with pinching. I cut down to leaving a stump about that high, just above ground level. And that'll encourage more stems to grow. Be sure you cut them when there's only 3 or 4 layers of petals left closed. Not like this, y'all. Don't let it get that pretty yellow center. This is how you want to actually cut them. And, I already told you that. And you know what's really fun to do with straw flowers after you cut them? If for some reason you don't have a use for all of them, they dry beautifully. And we love hanging stuff to dry. Have y'all seen this? This is the drying rack. You can hang, this is like, 18 inches probably across. You hang it up, and you can hang multiple bunches of flowers. This is really cool, actually. And it's called a dried flower and herb rack. And it is $26.95. And it just lets you hang a lot of stuff in one space, and it looks really cool. This can be really cool hanging in strategic places. So love that. And straw flowers are a great one. Why do you hang flowers up when you're drying them? So they don't droop, right? As they're out of water, that's the whole point. And this just makes it super easy to do in a very small space. All right, my friends, we are time to call it a wrap. So in just a few minutes, I am going to look and see if you guys have any questions, which I know you do. And just want to remind everybody that those special shipping rates that I told you about, free shipping on seed packet only orders and a flat rate of $11.95 on as many products as you buy, is only available here in the app. It will not work on our website, unfortunately. So that's just here in the app. And remember that over on our website, we have videos, blogs. You can connect with our 2 podcasts, Seed Talk, which episode number 12 is about straw flowers and sunflowers, and my podcast, Field and Garden, which is episode number 307, is a Q&A replay on harvesting strawflowers. So that might be a good one to listen to. So friends, remember that the Gardener's Workshop hosts Ask a Flower Farmer on Instagram and TikTok every Wednesday at 3 o'clock. And to join us for our regularly scheduled shopping shows. Wednesdays at 8, where you are right now, and then Fridays at 12 noon is our big show. That's where we do a giveaway of a $25 store credit. My sister is here, and there's always fun going on. We do the bouquet studio most weeks, and it's just a lot of fun. So stick around for the Q&A, but if you're heading out, thanks for dropping in. I'm so glad that you are here. And so let's see what questions we have here. All right, so let me go over here to the app and see what you guys, hello everybody. Love seeing all those sunflowers. I'm looking, y'all. And people are connecting. I love it. I love it so much. Lisa, okay, here's a question. From Susan, my strawflowers this past season were tall and sturdy, but mostly foliage. Only 1 or 2 blooms per plant. You know, somebody asked me about this the other day, I guess probably on Friday, or maybe it was live in the last week. And I was speculating that maybe it's like Cosmos and over-fertilization. I went in and did a search engine, and I had no great answers. Purdue University, all of these were guesses. Nobody said definitively. Purdue University said that low light and poor nutrition, so not over-fertilization, a lack of fertilization, could actually result in foliage with no blooms. But I don't have a great answer for that. I didn't feel real confident in any of the answers that I found online. But I know one thing, they need full blasting sun. That means like 10 plus hours. I mean, they need to get no shade during the day. And we just get gangbusters. I don't know either if that could have been related to a seed supply. There is not a lot of places for us to get strawflower seed from. So if there was a supply of certain varieties that had that problem, that's possible too. Lisa, how come I see professional gardens having short strawflowers? Are they just pinched, or is that a special variety? It's not a special variety, Tanya. It's just a different variety. That is so true in so many. I just talked today inside my Flower Farmer Club about this when we were talking about what cool flowers I succession plant. And I gave them a list. Is that when I mention varieties, there's a reason. And this is a perfect example. I mean, you wouldn't want to buy strawflowers that only grow 18 inches tall if you're a cut flower farmer. You want the varieties that grow really tall. And people with landscapes want the opposite. So yes, they're just different varieties. Oh, thanks for my haircut. How often and when should I, oh my gosh, wait a minute, y'all, I lost the question. I hate when this happens. Wait a minute, y'all, I'm having. Man, there's a lot of questions in here. All right, wait a minute, I'm still looking. All right, how often should we succession plant? Again, Tanya, that is really based on what your need is. I mean, if you're a home gardener, I would say 2 times. But if you're a flower farmer and you're actually selling flowers and you have customers, every 4 to 6 weeks. I mean, that's your call on that. Do we keep slow germinating seeds and soil blocks on the heat match, which might be up to 21 days? So Jan, yeah, I mean, I leave on the seedling heat mat or even in a germination chamber until you reach that 50% or so germinating before I move them on. There have been times when I've moved them after it's like, oh my gosh, this has been forever. But yeah, in general. Hello, everybody. Cindy, if you have a lot of seeds, do not be afraid to start them. I kill stuff all the time. Does that make you feel any better? I have killed tens of thousands of plants through all my years and seeds. of trying. And that's what it takes to get good. Do not be afraid. Just put all that mess aside and get your setup set up and just go for it. And if you are just starting out, I will say that cool flowers, cool season hardy annuals, are a little bit more, not difficult, a little bit more to start than just warm season. So it gets easier. Lisa, I have some bells of Ireland that are putting out bells, but still pretty short. Will they continue to get taller or short or sticky? So if you're out in your garden, Melissa, yes, once it's about day length and warmth. They need to get vegetative growth. They need some heat. So just leave them alone until they get big enough for you to actually cut them. Can we plant the Secret Romance together in the same bed? Yeah, so those are warm season tender annuals. It's too early to plant them, but yeah, you can plant them in whatever combination you'd like. Are we going to have a from seed to harvest course for warm season flowers? Wow. Stay tuned. I'm not having much luck with the 3 kinds of eucalyptus, Patrick said. Okay, so I don't know when you got your seeds, but we've started all 3 of them this year as well as last year, and had great germination. Warmth, they're from Australia. They need a very warm environment. Surface sown and overwatering can really be a problem. They're slow to start, and overwatering is the issue frequently. So be sure that they're warm, they're on a seedling heat mat, directly on a seedling heat mat. And if you think you've overwatered, that may have killed the vitality of the seed. You may need to start again. But we had great luck. So just look at your steps. They should be dry every morning. You water that morning, and then they get dry during the day, and the next morning they're dry again. That's the cycle they need to go through. Is the Spiral Cut Flower Handbook back in stock? No, but it is getting here. I won't even dare say a date, but it's in progress. That's what I should say. My Scabiosis pincushion triple berry seeds germinated, but after getting an inch high, they died at the base near the soil block. That is called dampening off. That's a fungus. What am I doing wrong? Watering every morning, using Neptune weekly. Cool. What usually induces fungus like dampening off is cool soil. So I don't know what your air temperature is, but you probably need to warm it up where they are, and they should be absolutely dry every morning when you water. I'd go easy on water and stop Neptune's harvest for right now, and let them just get kind of caught up. Yeah, so the spiral books are in process. Y'all will be the first to know. Anybody that's wondering what that is the Cut Flower Handbook, but we literally send it somewhere and have the spine ripped off, and it's spiral so that you can then make it into like an amazing reference book, a powerful reference book. So we're working on it, y'all. The publisher sold out again of the book, which is all a wonderful thing. And anyway, it's in progress. Soon. I started stock, Rudbeckia, Billy Balls, Strawflowers, and Soil Blocks on January 15th. So that was 6 weeks ago. They germinated well, and they're about 1 to 2 inches tall, but they have simply stalled and don't want to get any taller. I water just like you've taught. Nat water on Mondays, Neptunes on Wednesdays. I can almost promise you, Jan, it is air temperature. For seedlings to grow vegetatively on top, they need it to be warmer. And I've often mentioned that, you know, once I've got the seed, the heat mat kind of not anything on it, I bump the air temperature up in my room to about 75 degrees because that induces great vegetative growth. And when they're vegetative growing, they suck up more water and you're less likely to overwater. So bump your air. How old were those Strawflower seedlings? They were started January 6th. So whatever that makes them. Today's February 25th. Should I have started, I'm in Michigan. Should I have started my Strawflowers now? Also, if larkspur to start now, or do you suggest fall? Thank you. I absolutely loved your classes and your products. Oh, thanks, Michelle. Michelle, it all comes down to when you start to your frost dates, and that's why the big calendar journal will answer all those questions. I'm telling you, it is the best tool ever. I believe that it will have more people being clear to know when they're supposed to plant all the different groups on that calendar. So you should be planting strawflowers 6 to 8 weeks before your last average spring frost. So whenever that is for you. And yes, definitely larkspur in the fall. Lisa, I haven't had luck with the 3 kinds of oak Patrick purchased from Gardener's Workshop, all planted exactly the same, soil blocks, heat pads, same lighting, same watering, all were planted side by side February 1st. Polyanthemus germinated at about 60% and is working on 3 leaves. Parvula gum and Silver Dollar haven't shown any signs of life. I'm feeling they're not going to produce anything. Room temperature is between 75 and 80 degrees. What am I doing wrong? All other seeds I've sown are doing well, including eucalyptus. So if they are still on the seedling heat mat and your room air temperature is 65 to 80, they're probably overheated. So 70-degree air temperature means that your heat mat is warming up to about 85 degrees. But doing 75, add 15 to 20 degrees on top of your 75 to 80 degrees for your room temperature. I suspect that would be the problem, because you can have it too hot, right? So you have to just remember that heat mat bumps it up 15 to 20 degrees, and I suspect that would be why they actually did that. And again, I want to say that I was not a stellar seed starter out of the gate, especially with, and it's not that eucalyptus and lisianthus are difficult, it's that they're slower. And when it's slow, there's so many different ways to kill the vitality of the seed, whether it's overheating, overwatering, or too cool. Finding that happy medium. Yours that have sprouted, your polyanthemus, I would definitely get them bumped up and moving on. And then they could, if it's in a separate, we were talking about this the other day, I think, I'm not sure where I was talking about it, that in a perfect world, my seed starting setup with the heat mat would be in one area and the grow light would be in another area. Warmer grow light area, cooler seed starting for the seed mat, heat mat. So that's what I would say, Patrick, is do not fret. I would just start again. Well, it might be too late for that. But definitely I would cool that air temperature down where your seedling heat mat is. So will the insect netting protect seedlings from wind? And you know what else it protected my seedlings from was torrential rain. It just breaks it, it doesn't keep it from getting through, but it slows it down. Yes, I love insect netting. Amy says, first year soil blocking, love it, great. Which cut flower seeds are you sowing 2 or 3 times for a full garden full of continuous blooms? Changes all the time, Patrick. We go now from cool season seeds into warm season seeds. However, there are some cool season that we can do a couple successions like Strawflowers that we talked about today. But it's all about what do you need and what are you doing with your flowers. That's what really dictates that. I'm looking, y'all, try not to lose. When do I start my Strawflowers? So Cindy, it's not based on your zone, it's your frost dates that you count back from. Nicole, Strawflower disaster. Seeds planted just like you did, watered once a day, cookie cooling racks, air temperature 65, planted over 300, used your soil recipe. Germination in the teens started 2 weeks ago. Would love your advice. If you made your own soil, that's where I would start looking at what did you use for compost? Was it fully processed and cooked? Did you use peat moss or cocoa fiber? I'm definitely a peat moss fan. And Cookie cooling racks on heat mats, air temp at 65 degrees. That's good. Did you surface sow them or did they get covered with soil? And then you go back to the overwatering issue. It's either usually overheating or overwatering. And again, I just don't want anybody to get discouraged, y'all. I killed so many seeds becoming this stellar seed starter. I've been doing this for 30 years, right? So it takes time. And again, cool season seeds are a little bit more dicey to learn to germinate than warm season. It's much more cut and dry. You just heat them up, right, when they're warm season. So what I would do, Nicole, I often recommend, particularly when people are first learning, to start out with the ready-made mix because, I mean, we don't make that. We buy the ready-made mix. And you know that everything is of the proper proportions, and learn how to start with that and then start making yours at home. But there's a lot of variables in peat moss versus cocoa fiber and what kind of compost you used. All right. I figured out why that happens on my phone. All right. I have to go back. I lost y'all again. I'll answer you. Here we go. So Patrick, so if you don't have eucalyptus, I mean, our primary foliage is always basil. Miss Burns lemon, #1 customer favorite. We succession plant it all throughout the summer. It is incredibly prolific and productive. And there's several different basils to choose from. And that was our go-to. Every other foliage that we can possibly use kind of came and went, but basil is always a mainstay. Lisa, failed soil test state our cut flower beds need nitrogen. What would you recommend to add to the soil? First off, we use organic fertilizers, so there's no high nitrogen fertilizer available. Nothing is fast with organic gardening. So the sustain that I showed, I think the number for the nitrogen is 4, which, you know, if you ask somebody at an extension office, they'll say, oh no, you need like 10, 10, 10. And those are really fast acting fertilizers. However, they're very damaging to the biology in your soil. So either one of the all-purpose fertilizers that we use and is available, both of those would be great. We install irrigation underneath of our biodegradable film. Do you use the cookie cooling rack? Yes, for cool season hardy annuals. Not for warm season. I use the book all the time. I agree, Amy. I'm telling you, I have the Cool Flower book, the Cut Flower handbook are like worn out. Have you, Wendy, will you ever do a dried straw flower class on a wreath in the background? I would love to learn how to do this. So those are actually Gumphrina, not Strawflowers. And yes, I do those inside my club, the membership club. We make those like in, we did one in November and we did a couple of them in January when we don't have real seeds to sow or we don't need to sow seeds. So that's where I pretty much do that kind of stuff. You can get on the wait list for my membership. It's over on my website if you go to courses, it's one of the drop down. And yeah, that's exactly the kind of stuff that we do. So Kitty, anything that's available today should be on the show or available in the app 24/7, except for things that sell out, like those seed sets. Lisa, do you use a cookie cooling rack for each succession of Strawflowers? Yes, because the point of the cookie cooling rack is to not overheat the soil blocks and the seeds, and they don't like it really hot. They like it cool, right? But they do need it warmer than their natural 50 to 55 degrees. The website is thegardenersworkshop.com. If you just search engine Gardener's Workshop, it'll come up. Oh, Julie, I'm so glad you got your calendar. The calendar is good for anybody, anywhere, because it goes by frost dates that you plug in. It's not pre-filled out. You use my equations to find your planting dates. So you create your own custom. What do you think of compost made with cottonseed? I'm afraid of all the chemicals they use on cottons. Excellent point. There's a lot of variables in compost quality. And so for making seed starting mix, we try to buy from a reliable brand down a big box store. I go buy a big block of peat moss and a bag of finished compost. I like all of them, mushroom compost, cow manure compost. The key is that they're finished, that they're totally cooked, and we bring them home and make our blocking mix. All right, friends, that is it. I think I've answered everybody's question. Thank y'all so much for joining me. Remember to sign up for my free class, Where to Sell Your Flowers. The registration's at the top of every web page on my website, thegardenersworkshop.com. That's where you can also find the bigger bags of fertilizer, bigger bags of blocking mix. Everything is over there. And join me on Friday. Friday, what are we talking about Friday? I forget. I talked about it earlier today. I thought I knew. Oh, Friday, we're talking about early bird sunflowers. We have a new seed set to introduce y'all, and you're going to love it. Every seed set, when we introduce it, sells out immediately. So if you want one, be there on Friday. You can watch the replays too. And we have a new soil blocking kit set too that we're introducing. All right, my friends, until we meet again, thank you so much for joining me, and I appreciate all your kind comments.